Yeah, we get the reveal that Oblivion is dead, and then I asked
Yeah, you're
myself,
jumping ahead already now.
all right, well, I don't know because you're tying scenes together and we're doing both diner scenes at once, so
I
I don't
just
know.
mashed one scene together because
All
they
right.
happened within, like, minutes of each other. Stop.
Okay, go ahead.
Mom,
Alright.
Dad, stop fighting. Yeah.
Hey, do you wanna see that movie? Do you wanna see that movie? Do you wanna see that movie?
Showtime. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co host, Lynn.
Long live the new Flash.
And joining us again, the podcaster with a degree in terror, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Today, we will be discussing the 1983 sci fi movie, Videodrome, written and directed by David Cronenberg, starring James Woods and Debbie Harry. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. All right, guys, let's get into my 4-in-1 fun and one fake facts.
Alright.
So, fact number 1. The end of Videodrome was created by James Woods. Number 2. Videodrome was the inspiration for the story told in Halloween 3, A Season of the Witch. Number 3. The majority of the trailer was created with a Commodore 64 computer. Number 4. There were actually 3 different endings for Videodrome. And number 5. Danny Cronenberg had to double as James Wood for the scene in which Max Wren puts on the helmet because both were afraid that James Wood might be electrocuted by the prop. Tony, which one do you think is bullshit?
Number 2.
Okay. And Dylan, which one do you think is bullshit?
I agree, number 2.
Yeah, I was thinking it was probably a mistake to try and fool Tony with a Halloween fucking bullshit. And like,
Appreciate it.
yeah, it didn't even hit me until just now. I'm like, what? I'm like, why would I do that? So yeah, but with that being said, this movie did remind me of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch in a couple of different spots.
Mhm.
So just stylistically, some of the music, some of the TV scenes, shots, they're gonna send out a broadcast. It's gonna like melt people's fucking minds. Yeah, a couple little things. It just what made me think of using that is the fake fact.
Definitely see
Um,
that.
yeah. Uh, and I can't believe this, but I believe that I missed the budget and
You did?
box office.
Oh,
So,
mailing it in.
It did not make its budget back. It was a small budget. It was minuscule, but didn't make its budget back. I know that.
Dylan, put it in the Google machine. I want to give the fans what their money's worth. I want to give the fans their fucking free admissions worth.
Videodrome budget. Let's see here. It was 5.952 million, and it only recouped 2.1 of that 5.9.
Oh,
Man, that's brutal.
Oopsie.
That's
it's too
brutal.
weird. It's just too weird.
Oh,
It's
boy.
very weird.
Okay. All right. Glenn, will you please give us the just question. So Tony, obviously you've seen this before preparing for the podcast?
Yes.
Okay. And I've seen it obviously before preparing for the podcast. Dylan, have you ever seen Videodrome before preparing for the podcast?
So this is one of those weird movies. So Tony and I both used to go to a goth club in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and they would play movies on the video screens, but you couldn't hear them. You could just see them. And I remember this movie coming up at certain times. So I'd seen images, but I didn't really know exactly what was happening.
And we're talking about Man Ray?
Yeah.
Great. You will recall the time I went there on black only night where you could not enter the club unless you were wearing all black, no colors allowed.
That's
I
every
showed
night.
up there in bright orange pants and they let me in. They let me in because I was there with my good friend Peter McNeely, the Hurricane, and they wanted him in the club, so they let us come in and we acted a fool. Yes, we acted.
Well, honestly, it was black or creative attire, and I think orange pants is pretty creative. It's Halloween pants. You're okay. You got it covered.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yes, and Peter McNeely was not my good friend, but he was part of my crew at the time, so. All right, let's do this.
All
Dylan,
right.
give us a synopsis and then just bring us right into this mindfuck.
All right. All right, here we go. As president of a trashy TV channel, Max Wren is desperate for new programming to attract viewers. When he happens upon Videodrome, a TV show dedicated to gratuitous torture and punishment, Max sees a potential hit and broadcasts the show on his channel. However, after his girlfriend auditions for the show and never returns, Max investigates the truth behind Videodrome and discovers that the graphic violence may not be as fake as he thought.
Okay, so I do
Dun.
want to stop you quickly there because
Okay.
I think the opening thought that I have at least is very important for this podcast. So I'm going to
Okay.
give it to you. So
Okay.
Videodrome, this is a true cult classic in every sense of the word. It's a mix of horror, sci-fi, um, with a frighteningly close take on social media and mainstream news that shapes so many people's false realities today. They might as well be hallucinating. It touches on Manchurian candidates. This is an important piece of filmmaking that goes a step further than They Live, which we did a couple of podcasts ago. Um, and that one pales in comparison to this with these undertones and the symbolism and this sub movie that lies beneath the movie that you're presented with on the screen. I've seen this movie 15 times. I've never even seen it once till I watched it to review it for this podcast. I mean that by I never noticed what was lying under the surface. It's brilliant. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to do this. Tony, do you have anything to add to that?
No, though it's funny because obviously They Live comes to mind, Manchurian Candidate. Those are two easy ones. But the thing that kept going back is every time I know I'm jumping ahead with descriptions, but every time he pulled the gun out and it's like, do this, do that, all I could think is Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche.
Yeah, sure.
It follows the songs almost to a T. It's frightening. Which I mean, all you need is a nun in there, and we're golden. But yeah, it's the same kind of mind control. It's the fear of conformity. And I got a lot of thoughts as far as characterizations go. I think that was my biggest eye opening this time around. Is I remembered the characters being a certain way, and this time through, I saw them in a different light. So I'm kind of excited
Sure.
to talk about that part of things. So
Yeah, I mean
Interesting.
it reminds you of, how people that are maybe not completely stable like Max, we get that in the opening scene where she's telling him what day it is twice with a wink at the camera. How there's people like that in real life that are um pushed to do things that are, crazy by, you know, false news or false narratives or, being, just poked and pronged on their Facebook, news feed or just whatever it is that takes people that maybe are very close to the edge anyway and has them doing things that are just, horrifying. So, yeah, I mean, this was just, I was blown away. Glenn, anything to add to that before we get into it?
I got to be honest with you. When I started watching this movie, I was like, "Oh boy, it's a bunch of boobs." Like, just I don't want to. Like, I just was like, "No." I was like, "No, no, no."
a little decorative
Um,
dildo on the side.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
just like, "Oh boy, here we go." I was like, "It's just one of those fucking weird movies," and and I literally said to him, "I can't believe you guys picked this, and I'm gonna have to sit through this shit." Like, I literally said that, but it's almost like two different movies. You get to a certain thing where the tone of the movie changes, and I kind of bring that up as I'm doing the scene by scene. But um, I'm if somebody had said, "Hey, check this out," I would have watched what I watched and turned it off and been like, "I'm not watching the rest of that." But because I had to sit and watch the whole thing, I got to actually see what the movie was actually about. So I'm glad that that made it so that I actually got to see the whole movie.
yeah. I remember this as being a very sexual, um, you know, body torture movie, and it's not that at all. Like, I kind of almost categorized this with like 8 millimeter before I watched it again for this
Yeah.
podcast. And it's actually not even really very sexual movie. They added that. I felt like they added this sex thing as almost like honey to the fly to try and draw people into this to see it, because I don't know if he tried to present this to the public without the sexual angle on it, if people would have actually wanted to go watch a movie about, social media and news and just all of these things.
That's what I mean, the part, again, I hate jumping ahead, but I always do,
It's okay.
is the fact that, the fine line between sex and violence of what's accepted and what's not. It's funny because when I finished watching the movie, um, I have the Criterion Blu-ray of it, so of course I'm watching all the extras to find out what I can. And there's a great interview with John Carpenter, John Landis, and David Cronenberg with Mick Garris from 1983,
Wow.
and basically saying the fact that this was made in Canada, which and in 1981 would allow everything on the screen, no problem. But when he went to put this in front of the ratings board in 1982, 83, they shut it down. They basically would cut this out, cut that out, cut this out, cut that out. So he basically he brought it to America to basically be able to not get it cut to shit.
Right.
Because up in Canada, it's the government. Because this is a government-made movie. He used the funds from Canada to make
Wow.
this movie. And so if he basically went to Canada, they basically, what their process at the time was, we're going to review your movie. We don't like this. We don't like this. We don't like this. They cut the movie. They take those scenes out. And if you show that movie, you go to jail. If you
Wow.
release the movie, putting the scenes back in, they said, don't, you go to jail.
That's crazy.
So that, and like Landis and Carpenter were like, fuck that noise. So it was really interesting because they basically said, it's like when Landis brought American Werewolf in London to the ratings board originally, they basically said this is an X rating because in the movie theater there's a projection of a woman riding a guy in a porno theater. It's not a main focus, it's in the background, but they gave him an X for that. But 5 years before that, he had the same exact scene in Kentucky Fried Movie, and they're like, oh yeah, it's rated R, no problem.
Right.
It's the era that you put these into.
Huh.
So sex and violence, violence is no problem, sex is the problem. Or in some eras, sex is the problem and violence isn't the problem. So it literally comes down to the morals of the day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a brilliant story, and it's brilliantly told, and it's just wow. So then the ending, I can't wait to give you guys the ending. So let's do it. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into it. All right. Max Wren, played by James Woods, is the president of Civic TV, a sleazy Toronto UHF television station specializing in sensationalistic programming. Displeased with his station's current lineup, which mostly consists of softcore pornography, Max is on a seemingly endless quest for something that isn't so soft and will break through to a new audience. After waking up to his assistant's videotaped greeting, he meets with several men in a hotel room to purchase some Japanese softcore porn, but after viewing it with his board, is left mostly unimpressed. Later, Max goes to Harlan's office, played by Peter Dorfsky, I think is how you pronounce it, who operates Civic TV's pirate satellite dish and intercepts signals for rebroadcast. Harlan shows Max Videodrome, a plotless television show apparently being broadcast out of Asia, which depicts the brutal torture and eventual murder of an anonymous victim in a bizarre reddish-orange chamber. Believing this to be the future of television, snuff TV, Max orders Harlan to begin pirating the show. So, Tony, I mean, Max's life feels kind of grimy and gross right out of the gate to me. And there doesn't appear to be very many morals for him to be crossing.
Oh, 100%. And that's what James Woods is, the ultimate sleaze. Like he plays sleaze between Casino. I mean, just take your pick of his movies. He's amazing at just this like greasy character and just delivers one lines and make you go, oh, dude, you just need a shower after you.
He's
after
like
I
so
talk to you.
ratty. He's like a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, watching him do the deals in the hotel, this tenement apartment to like go get videotapes. You think it's a drug deal
Yeah.
because it's like this like softcore porn, but it's like it's a great intro to him. You know, he obviously doesn't know what day it is. He's so lost. You know, and his secretary says, "Don't you ever deal with someone with a 9 to 5 hours?" So it shows right there, that one statement. You're dealing with like the dregs, the late night sleazos, the awful, the dregs of humanity to get what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, you said Casino, I'm like, "He wasn't in Casino," and I'm like, "Oh my god, he was in Casino," and it just shows you that James Wood, man, he can disappear into a part, like, and I mean that as a compliment, where you're like, "I just remember the character he played in Casino." Like, James Wood didn't even come to my mind, and I'm like, "Holy fuck, that was fucking James Wood." So good.
The one that popped up recently as I caught from the middle on because I just love everybody in it is what's the Oliver Stone football movie? He plays the team doctor
Oh,
who
yeah.
just keeps shooting people up
Yeah,
and not reporting their injuries. A
right.
sleazy doctor.
Yeah, yeah, he's great. He's fucking great.
Any Given
Um,
Sunday, that's what it's called.
yes. So, I noticed on the wake-up call, David Cronenberg made a point to have Max's secretary mention the date twice and then almost give us, the, viewers, a wink of the eye, and it's a very specific look, and immediately we haven't even met Max yet, but I'm questioning his sanity. I mean, this is a guy that needs his secretary to tell him twice what day it is and the date. He's clearly fucked up. Um, you know, then we see him buying this softcore porn, which I was kind of confused because, you said, he's not buying drugs. At first, I was like, what's he doing buying drugs? And then I find he's going to buy some material for his TV station. But it's this weird softcore porn. It's not like it's snuff or anything. And I didn't know why you couldn't just buy that, that porn anywhere. It didn't seem like it was dangerous. The dildo. Let's talk about the dildo. Um, Tony, this is what I imagine a strange boner looks like.
It was a little
Uh,
dress on it and everything. It's like,
it
oh,
was
isn't that a cute little figurine?
Oh
Oh,
god,
it's a
I
dildo.
thought he was gonna, like, open it, and then there was gonna be another little one inside it, and then another little one
Like
inside it, another
the
little one
nesting
inside it.
dolls.
Exactly. All right, so the satellite dish. Harlan is working on the scrambler with a screwdriver, and I noticed there's a little red sign that reads "Danger, 6,000,000 volts, keep out." And it's on the thing, and I'm like, "Okay, 6,000,000 volts. There's no way this thing's got 6,000,000 volts in it," and he's shoving a screwdriver in it. Um, so at this moment, I realize immediately before they say one more word, they're doing illegal stuff, and Harlem is doing illegal stuff. He's pirating through this thing,
Oh,
and they've put this sign on so nobody will touch it. In case somebody stumbles into the back room and sees this, they don't want anybody dicking around with this thing and figuring out what they're doing. So I thought that was clever. And he puts these little breadcrumbs out and these little fucking signs out all over this movie. If you're looking for it, I never noticed that sign before. Took me way longer to get into this movie. Every time I've seen it to realize they were pirating, and this time I'm like, there it is.
it says it on
Um,
the back of the door. He calls
yeah,
like,
but
"Can you tone it down with the signs?" And he points to the pirate.
right, that's after we get this first click because I really thought that sign was so awkward. I'm like 6,000,000 volts. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this? The CERN collider? Like it's fucking the size of like a mini fridge. So the Videodrome clip. All right. This is like it's so simple and it's so effective. You've got two guys basically in like, you know, butcher outfits. Like something you would slaughter a cow
Executioner
in.
garb. Yeah.
Yeah, like something you'd slaughter a cow in. One woman, really cool looking wall, two colors, orange, black. It's dynamite. Um, so the quick clip of Videodrome was so effective in making me want to know more about Videodrome, and it makes Max's instant obsession with the origin of Videodrome very believable. And I want to take the journey with him here. Like if I was like flipping through my Fire Stick and I saw that, I'd be like, whoa, whoa, the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like I'd stop. Like I'm not into that, but I'd have to be like, what is this? Where is this coming
See,
from? Is this real?
I agree 100% because yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, but and I'm going to probably expose myself too much here.
Oh, I remember. I know what you're going to say. Go
There
ahead.
were two websites, steakandcheese.com and rotten.com,
Oh God.
and they were the worst possible things you could ever find on the net. And I was like obsessed with going to them because I'm like, how far can I push myself?
Oof.
And I saw things that I can't unsee now. And
Oh
that's the
God.
excuse. That's the reason I use to my son all the time. Like, dude, just don't, because
Yeah.
there's things going to be etched in your head forever, and
Yeah.
it's just terrible. And the funny thing about you basically saying it's like, I want to know more. Where to come from? All this. And I wanted to bring this up later, but now is the perfect time. Is that there was a series that came from Japan that went around in the early '90s. It's called the Guinea Pig series. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
No.
It's basically 9 DVDs of this extreme horror stuff. But one of them was literally two of them. One was a guy in a samurai mask with a woman tied to a bed, injecting her with drugs that make her not feel pain, and then he slowly, piece by piece, dismembered her on the bed
Oh my God.
in full graphic, amazing makeup effects.
Wow.
And then there's another one called The Devil's Experiment, where it's basically five guys torturing this one woman. Same kind of thing. They put a needle into her eye, they spin her around, they put the headphones on, turn the volume up to like 100. It's just insane.
Oh my God.
So this made the rounds, and apparently I'm probably gonna get the celebrity wrong. No, it was Charlie Sheen. At first I thought it was Keanu Reeves. Charlie Sheen saw it and then reported it to the FBI because he thought it was real. That's how like insane this was. But it's hard not to think of those things when you watch Videodrome, because it's the same exact thing. It's like, here's this extreme thing. Like, do I report it? Do I want it? But at the same time, I got to know more about it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and again, I have no interest. You know me, I don't even really like horror movies. I don't like, violent, human on human violence, any of that stuff. It just makes me uncomfortable. Just something about it. But if I saw this, I think I would have to stop and I would need to know more. Just would. So anyway, great. 1983, great visuals. This movie is so stylistic. I don't want to say Blade Runner because it doesn't look anything like Blade Runner,
No.
but it's so stylistic in its own way. It's really great. It's really great. So that's what I got.
I disagree with you there. I hate the look of Cronenberg's movies. They look low budget. They look street trash level. Everything is not lit well. Everything is like out in the it's like early Toronto. Like, all right, we have no budget. Let's go out and just shoot in the back lot. I really feel that any outside shots, it's me. All his movies feel very dated.
Yeah, I love the way this movie looked. I love that little fucking mini scene they used like 3 times every time they'd zoom in on the street where his public access station was, and it had the one weird building in the back with the fucking satellite thing. And his apartment looked like, it was out of a Corey Hart video, MTV. I mean,
neon,
The glass
really
blocks
like-
on either
yeah.
side of the door.
I really liked the way this movie looked. It was, I don't know about any of his other movies, but it had a style. It knew what it wanted to be. It was really good for me. So
For a
let's
hot
keep
second,
going.
can we discuss the Hitler in a tutu picture that's on the wall?
Yeah, I actually, so that's not until a little later in the movie, but I have that in my notes.
I kept
With a
seeing it because it
swastika.
kept being behind him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is even happening?
Yeah.
It was so
It's just
weird.
everything that could offend you, they tried to put in this movie. That's what
Yeah.
and that's what I liked about it. It's like shock value. Shock value is what gets your people's attention, and that's what he's going for. That's the
Yeah.
whole theme of his channel. And it's like,
True.
when we first got cable, remember how insane it was? Like, oh my God, we could see boobs.
Oh,
We could see
yeah.
all the, like, Friday the 13th. We could see all this stuff, and it was insane. Now today, the fucking Walking Dead shows dismemberment on like 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we've come so far because we're so desensitized and everything's been so pushed to us. And
True.
anyway, we'll get to that. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I disclosed last week on Fast Times that I used to take my grandmother's J.C. Penney catalog and take it into the bathroom, and that's what we had when we were 9 years old. You know,
The lingerie section. I remember.
yes, the lingerie section. I think I see a nipple. I think
hate
I
to
see a
say
nipple.
it. I get
Yeah.
it. Sears catalog, man.
Sure, there was some great stuff in there.
Man.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, let's keep rolling.
Max meets a radio psychiatrist named Nikki Brand, played by Deborah Harry, when he appears on Rena King's TV talk show. Max defends his station's programming choices to Nikki and the other guest, Professor Brian Oblivion, fantastic name, played
So
by
good.
Jack Creeley, who's also a pop culture analyst and a philosopher who will only appear on television if his image is broadcast into the studio on a television from a remote location. Oblivion hijacks the interview and delivers a speech prophesying a future in which television supplants real life. Max dates Nikki, not really sure how he landed her, but that's okay, who is sexually aroused when Max shows her an episode of Videodrome and coaxes him into having sex with her while they watch it. It's clear that Nikki finds pleasure and pain as Max pierces her ears with a needle during sex. So Des, up to this point, I wasn't really enjoying the movie and I was rolling my eyes at it and really did not want to finish it. But it felt like a gratuitous way to get Debbie Harry naked in a movie, but okay. After this scene, the movie kind of changes into something else, and I'm glad that I pushed through it.
Deborah Harry was beautiful in this movie. I want to say,
Gorgeous.
just stunning, and
Gorgeous.
they did the nude tastefully with her and
Mhm.
James Wood. She looked beautiful nude. Just one of these women, just so natural. Just oh man, I was smitten by her in this movie. So the Rena King show, really fun. Reminded me of the scene in The Golden Child, okay, where Eddie Murphy is on the local access show. Very similar. I loved the host. You watch her facial expressions during these interviews. She's got no control of the panel. She's offended by everything. It's really great. I love the first shot of Blondie. The first time we see her, we're going to see her on a TV monitor. Okay? They made very they used so many TV monitors in the shooting of this. One of the stylistic choices that I really really liked. Um so we see James Wood, James Wood's looking at Blondie. We see Blondie on the TV monitor. Very cool. Then it pans to her in live color in that red dress. I'm blown away. Um then we meet Professor O'Brien again on a TV monitor. So good. Uh, Professor Oblivion says soon all of us will have special names. And boy, did Dave Cronenberg get that one right, didn't he? Didn't
TV names. Yeah.
he?
Yep.
TV names or Facebook names or whatever you want to be now, because you can reinvent your persona on social media.
Yeah,
And
sure.
basically, he says, people are going to pick names to get people excited, that stir up emotion, and that's exactly what is happening. Um, on Nikki's radio show, we get a little scene here where Nikki is talking to a disturbed woman on her show, and I was getting the talk radio vibe. You know what I mean, Tony? Had
Oh, it's
that,
impossible not to. Yeah.
yeah, it had that talk radio vibe, which I really liked. Blondie looked like she was ready for an aerobics class, like in a fucking
Oh
trance
yeah.
video. It was awesome. I was
1982 fashion, baby. Yeah, with a
like
headband.
The
full
headband.
on everything, the
This
colors,
top knot ponytail. Yeah.
so good. And then we get date night with Videodrome. Um, so when Nikki asks Max to cut her and she shows him that she's recently been cut, this is where I'd be ending this date quickly. I'd be like, okay, we gotta go. We're done. But Max decides to turn Nikki into a pincushion, which was interesting. Um, I didn't feel like Max was pressuring her for sex. I felt like she was pressuring Max for sex. I mean, "Oh, I want to watch this movie. Oh, it's really
Oh no,
hard
she was in
porn.
control for sure. I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
it was him. Yeah.
No, it's really hard porn." She's like, great, the harder the better. Did anybody die? I mean, she was insane.
Well, this is the
Um,
first time, like on this rewatch, as I said, the character development. This is the first. I in my memory, I had him as being this like sleazy, aggressive, always like I'm going, which he was, but he was mousy.
yes.
Watching that scene, he was shocked that someone else would be more extreme than him. Like,
Yeah.
wait, so who did this to you? Who cut your shoulder? You let someone cut you? He was like offended by this. I'm like, I don't remember him being such a puss. It's
Right.
like, and it was just like, the movie went on, I could see the fact that he wasn't this
No. Yeah.
aggressor that I remember him being in this movie.
Yeah.
But he was like on the, and like you said, oh, I never go after the dangerous stuff, the scary stuff. You know me, I don't do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, that was a perfect example. But the weird thing, and again, it was definitely, you could tell pre-AIDS, because he pierced her ear and then licked the needle.
Right.
One of those
Yeah.
things now, it's like, oh, Jesus, that's unhealthy. That's just, it's like,
Not yeah, not good. Yeah, I mean, Tony, you nailed it there, because as this movie unfolds, we start to realize that uh Max is not is into what he is producing and putting out for the public. It's more of a job for him, and he wants to shock the public to make money to have a successful TV channel. And there's going to be several little instances where we see that he almost shies away from it when he's actually um, directly involved. And this is the first time we get that. And then at the end of the scene, um, we're on the set of Videodrome with him and Deborah Harry having sex on the set of Videodrome, and this is where the movie turns sci-fi and the plot thickens, and I'm just like, I'm all in. I'm loving it. So, yeah, really good. So, that's what I got.
All right. Shall we move on?
Sure.
sure.
All right. So Max goes once again to Harlan's office, where Harlan informs him that the signal delay which caused it to appear that Videodrome was coming from Asia was actually a ploy by the broadcaster. In fact, Videodrome is being broadcast out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Max tells Nikki of the discovery, and she announces that she's going on assignment in Pittsburgh suddenly and plans to audition for Videodrome while she's there. I really call bullshit on that, but okay. Max pleads with her to not do it, and she proves her determination by burning her chest with a cigarette. So this girl is something else. As could be expected, Nikki does not return. Max contacts Masha Borowski, played by Lynn Gorman, a softcore feminist pornographer with long-standing ties to the porn community, and asks her to help him find out what's going on with Videodrome. Through Masha, Max learns that Videodrome is the public face of a political ideology movement with unspecified but apparently violent goals. It's not just a show. She also tells him that Brian Oblivion knows more about Videodrome. So, Tony, our plot thickens here, and Nikki's now off the playing board, or so we think.
So many thoughts here. I love Masha's character.
Me
Yeah.
too.
From the minute we see her and she's brought in, it's like this old woman producing, tasteless porn. Like, good for her. Like, that's you're kind of rooting for her. But then this is the scene that she hits on him and stuff, which is always cute. But it's like this is the scene we see her get disturbed, and she's such a good actress. You see the fear in her face even before she even talked about it. Like you see her face change. It was beautiful. As far as Blondie going to Videodrome, and we've all dated that girl. Come on, we've all dated the dangerous girl. We've all dated what the fuck am I doing with her? This is a bad idea. But you have to see it through.
Sure.
So yeah, it's another example of James Woods going, all right, don't do this. And then these are the scenes that get my fear. I don't know why I have this terrible fear of like the dark net. Like, I'm afraid of the dark net. There's too much on there. There's too many things that can happen. It scares the shit out of me. The fact that literally you could hire someone to kill somebody just by logging onto a site, it messes with my head.
Prank call.
So, I mean, that's where kind of like Videodrome goes for me. There's people paying for this service to do nefarious things.
Okay.
And
so I'm glad you said that, because there are going to be a lot of underlying tones of morality in this movie, and earthly sins, and separating the earthly flesh from the spirit. And there's a lot of this in this movie, and you're setting it up perfectly. You're seeing it just the way he wanted you to. People that watch this stuff need to be dealt with in the eyes of
the
Big Brother. Yes. So, all right. So Nikki tells Max she's auditioning for Videodrome. When Nikki puts the cigarette on her boob, Max looks disturbed at first, right? It confused me a little. Does he like body torture? Does he like rough sex? Doesn't he? I'm not sure. Because he flip-flops on it. Does he just love her and he'll do anything she asks, or is he getting off on it? We're still not clear on that. But just before the scene cuts, he looks at the head of his cigarette, and then he turns and looks at her breast. Did he burn her again? I wasn't sure, but I'm positive David Cronenberg wanted me to ask that question, because he literally looks at the end of the cigarette. He looks directly at her breast, gives her this kind of weird look, and almost starts to lean in, and the scene cuts. And I just was like, where did this sexual encounter go? Did they continue on with this? Did he burn her? And I suspect that he did. So
I went the other way. I feel he didn't. It freaked him out too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy that he is putting that on the table for us to discuss. It could have gone either way.
The beauty of it is that you're both right, because it's Schrodinger's cat,
It could have gone either way. It really could have gone either way. And did he like it? Like I said, did he like it? Did he want to? Was he doing it because he desperately wanted to be with her and knew that, if he wouldn't comply to what she needed sexually, she would find it somewhere else?
Well, we're getting it at that moment. You're right. He presents, we don't know, but as we find out later in the movie, she's his hallucination. She's his tempt. She's his his muse,
Right.
as we
Yeah, I
find
mean,
out later. But we'll get to that.
frankly, I don't know if anything that you see in this movie after he sees Videodrome for the very first time can be believed.
Exactly.
Right.
Like literally, you just does he ever even meet Nikki Brand? Is she completely a figment of his imagination?
Right.
Like,
Well,
Like,
he did meet her. I believe he met her originally. So the character was put into his mind subconsciously because he did meet her.
and then
well,
she became the
He met her
obsession through
before.
that.
He had already seen Videodrome when he met her, so you don't know.
Right.
Well,
You don't
that's
know.
why Bianca Oblivion asked how many have you seen it? How long have you been exposed?
Yeah,
Right. Right.
Because it takes not just the first time, but a few other times, and then
right,
they got you.
Right.
right.
So Marcia tells okay, so we're only up to the first meeting with Marcia where Max asks her to look into Videodrome, correct?
I'm kind of pushing both of the meetings together
Okay. Okay.
so you
So
can talk about the other one
in
too.
the first meeting, she is not familiar with Videodrome really, a little
Right.
bit. Um, I loved it, like you said. What a great character. She's an old woman, but she's an old dog, man. Like she says to Max, "You're too old for me," and then she looks up at the waiter, and
With
it's just like,
with
I'm gonna fucking dress you down after lunch, like you're mine." And I believe it. I'm like, I don't know. She's got a little tread left on the tire. I might get a strange boner from Marsha, you know. Why not? Why not? I'd bang Marcia, sure. Um, yeah, and then in the second meeting, she's saying, leave it alone, dangerous, and then she says the words we've all been waiting for. It's real. And oh, what a powerful line, right? It was so good. She's like, it's real. Um, yeah, Marcia's so good. And then, she tells him that Professor Oblivion is behind Videodrome. And, I'm all in now. I fucking love it. So yeah, that's where we're at. So take us to the meeting with Professor Oblivion.
Okay, so Max tracks down Oblivion's office to the cathode ray mission, which I thought this was a really cool scene, this whole thing.
So good.
It's a mission where homeless individuals are provided food, shelter, and clothing, and encouraged to engage in marathon sessions of television viewing. Max discovers that the mission is run by Oblivion's daughter, Bianca, played by Sonia Smits, with the goal of helping to bring about her father's vision of a world in which television replaces every aspect of everyday life. Wow, that's
here
a
we
lot.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here
I
we
mean,
are.
pretty much, we're there. Later, Max receives a videotape in which Oblivion informs him that the Videodrome is a socio-political battleground in which a war is being fought for the control of the minds of the people of North America. In the video, Oblivion is strapped into his chair and then garroted by a hooded figure. The hood comes off to reveal Nikki. Her lips fill up the screen of a TV set where she says, "Come to me." The TV is moving as if it's breathing. Max leans in close. The distended screen envelops his face before Max wakes in a panic the next morning. So, Des, the special effects aren't amazing, but it's
Oh,
getting the
yes, they
job
are.
done.
No, they are amazing.
You think they're amazing?
You're mistaken. This is
Okay.
1983, and I am all over this shit, man. I feel like I took a hit of acid before I watched this movie. It was fucking great. So the meeting with Oblivion. So first of all, Oblivion's office is great. This is the stylistic look of the movie I was talking about. I love it. This fucking office is incredible. His doctor, I'm sorry, his daughter offers a video message from her father. The first time I watched this, and I had to put myself back as if I'd never seen it before. I said to myself, I wonder if the professor is already dead and these are archive tapes. So that's what I thought. I knew from past views that he was dead and these were archive tapes. But I think I definitely was wondering that the first time I saw it. I can't remember back if I did or I didn't, but this time I was like, wow, that was really cool. Tony, do you think you would have picked that up the first time?
It felt like it
Okay.
because one of the things I noticed again, I can't remember if I go back the first time or not, but it's one of those things like I know to look for now.
Yeah.
That when he's on the talk show, there's no back and forth. It's just he has his talk. And when she's like, my father chooses to converse in monologues instead of dialogues,
Right.
and that's where we are now.
Yeah.
Twitter. It's you.
Oh, yeah.
This is my voice. These are my posts. This is what. There's no conversation. It's me saying what I want.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the forethought in this movie and to where what we've become now is disturbing how accurate it really has become.
It's crazy. And, and I love the so the hallucinations. I mean, this is like, people are sold these ideas now on social media, especially weak-minded people that will just like they're junking on Fox or they're junking on CNN or they're junking on their news feed or they're junking on Twitter and they're getting all the information, they're getting all their facts and all their news and all their opinions through this. And some people are getting so angry over the information dumps they're getting that it literally will make them like almost hallucinate. Like, I want to go out and fucking kill this certain kind of person because I've been told that they're so evil that I'm righteous for killing them and taking them out. This is the hallucination now in today's society that's being created through what he is saying, television.
But
So,
Bianca, yeah, I mean, Bianca pretty much is not baiting him, but she's fishing to
right.
see
Oh
how
yeah.
much do you know, how much have you exposed yourself. What do you? She keeps like, well, Videodrome is this, Videodrome is that. I'm not really giving him a lot until the end of their meeting, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, technically, she doesn't give him much. He gets more from the videotape, but she is the one that sends the videotape. So he kind of leaves not empty-handed completely, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's so. Actually, this is a scene I wanted to bring up. So the secretary comes with the videotape, and he
Mm,
hallucinates that he hits her, and
right.
like
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I hit you," and she's like, "You didn't hit me," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wow, okay." Like
Um,
he gave her.
What's real in his life and what's not? What have we
How
seen
do you
that's not
know?
real? Right.
Yeah,
And
how do you know?
while he's hitting her, you'll notice that her face is flashing back and forth between her face and Nikki's face.
Nikki's.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So, very interesting. Um, so he gets the gun. He's afraid and clueless of the gun at first, so he doesn't even want to handle it, right?
He's like touching it like doo 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 doo
Yeah.
doo.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's hitting the secretary, he's seen her, then the VHS tape starts breathing. This is
Oh,
so
such a
good.
great scene.
And
Yeah, that was very cool.
this organ music kicks in, and I love the way this movie sounds too. It's perfect. Oblivion tells Max he's been infected by Videodrome. Nikki appears as the new leader of Videodrome, and we get more breathing appliances. Rick Baker is fucking killing it here. I love it. And I saw so many things in this scene that I would see later on in A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Mhm.
in a lot of different movies, like Poltergeist, just a lot of things. This movie influenced a lot of other movies, and I thought that these practical effects were way ahead of their time. I just did. I thought they looked great.
Yeah, he did.
All of it. Yeah. I mean, even when he opens his stomach up, it looked good. It was scary. It was gross. It didn't look
The
super fake.
the
There's a
weird
lot of
mangina thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he puts the gun in there, and then he loses it, and he's, like, looking around frantically for the gun.
That easily one of the best scenes of the movie. Like that's just
Yeah,
it's like what the fuck. Like now what do?
yeah,
You got a gun in you, like or
yeah,
do you?
exactly,
Who
or
knows?
do you? Exactly. Um, yeah, we get the reveal that Oblivion is dead, and then I asked
Yeah, you're
myself,
jumping ahead already now.
"Alright, well, I don't know, because you're tying scenes together, and we're doing both diner scenes at once, so
I
I don't
just
know."
mashed one scene together because they
Alright,
happened within like minutes of each other. Stop.
okay, go ahead.
All
Mom,
right.
Dad, stop fighting. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Max returns to the mission where Bianca tells Max that the hallucinations are side effects from having viewed Videodrome, which is in fact the carrier of a malicious broadcast signal that causes viewers to develop a malignant brain tumor. Brian Oblivion helped to create it as part of his vision for the future, but when he found out that it was to be used for malicious purposes, he attempted to stop his partners. In turn, they used his own invention to kill him. He's already dead. In the year before his death, Oblivion recorded tens of thousands of videos, which now form the basis of his television appearances. Bianca sends Max away with an armful of videotapes to watch. As he watches one tape, holding a pistol, sitting on his couch shirtless while wearing gun holsters, as one does, his stomach opens up. For some reason, Max sticks his gun in the opening and the incision steals the weapon from him and closes back up. On the tape, Oblivion says, "There is nothing real outside our perception of reality, is there?" Which I thought was pretty good.
So cool.
Max is contacted by Videodrome's producer, the Spectacular Optical Corporation, an eyeglasses company that acts as a front for a NATO weapons manufacturer. They have a car outside waiting for him. He meets the head of Spectacular Optical, Barry Convex, played by Leslie Carlson, who convinces him to put on a helmet, allowing Spectacular to record his hallucinations. He explains that the tumors are directed at lowlives to make a better society. He wants to know why Max is able to operate normally when the rest of the test subjects can't return to normalcy. He leaves the room explaining that the dark stuff disturbs him. So, Tony, you just met this guy. He is the one putting out the signal that put a tumor in your head and is giving you hallucinations. You going to trust him to put this big old contraption on your head?
Hell no. He's got a name named after a lens company that's a front for
Yeah.
bad things. It's like there's too much symbolism here. It's like,
So
come on.
sleazy.
Oh,
What's great about this is fucking James Woods wouldn't put it on his head in real life. This was the
Yeah.
prop that they were afraid was going to electrocute him.
it does look
Uh,
pretty
It
So we
does look
get
a little sketchy.
yeah.
Yeah, from China. So we get the reveal that Oblivion is dead, and I asked myself immediately, why isn't Harlan hallucinating? So immediately now I'm starting to put little pieces together. It's starting to feel like, they're setting up James Woods. Harlan's
See,
part of it.
I forgot to actually touch on it. I fucking love Harlan's character.
Love it.
He's so charismatic and he's so funny and he's your pirate friend. He's
Tony,
the one
he's
that
the
gave
fifth
you
Ghostbuster.
he's just he's the one that gives you the burned DVDs of things the movies aren't out yet. He's that friend, And
Yeah.
it's like yeah, you're right. This is where you start to go, motherfucker. He's like totally screwing him over. And it's like, again, so well written and again acted by everybody in this movie. There's
Yes.
really not one terrible performance in this movie.
No,
No.
definitely
That's rare.
not. Yeah. And this movie doesn't look as B as I thought it did. I thought this movie was legit all the way through. It's a sleazy MTV video from 1983. I fucking love it.
Well, that's why you like it.
Yeah. And this is where we get the swastika, the ballet Hitler with a
Hitler in a
swastika.
tutu.
Yeah, just crazy. We get the great effect of the gun going in the gut. Max goes to Videodrome. So in the limo, we get this sinister message explaining Videodrome. And it's frighteningly similar to today's media and mainstream news that create false reality for so many people again. It's like I'm just watching this and I'm going, fuck, did this guy get this right? Much like in They Live.
And by the way, it's a great segue.
Oh God. Yeah. Make a fucking channel that shows fucking shit that's totally fucking immoral. And if people watch it, then they get a brain tumor and die. I'm fine with it. So much like in They Live, we're getting special glasses here, right? Barry wants to record one of Max's hallucinations with the prototype helmet made in China. That is David Cronenberg in the helmet. I thought that was pretty cool. I couldn't see it. This is so Matrix, isn't it? I can see so many different movies were influenced in this, and it's so cool. He puts the helmet on. At first, you see the pixelated reality that he's looking at through the helmet, and then suddenly he's in the construct, just like in the Matrix. And I was like, oh man, come on. The Wachowski brothers saw this movie and used that because it is balls on.
I mean, I don't know the technology. I didn't research it, but it's like, dude, I wear my Oculus for like an hour a day.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
like I do virtual reality. It's like, and it's like that's what this was. This was did we have virtual reality in 1981? Wasn't even a thought of.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. It's literally that, and I'm doing it.
Yeah. Oh man, the VR porn is the technology is there. Tony, are you partaking in the VR porn? What do you mean?
I'm working out to Supernatural and Beat Saber. I'm not.
Dude, have you looked into the VR porn? It's free.
No, because my kid uses the helmet. That's the last thing I need.
Man, I'm telling you, I was looking at some VR porn with my door locked not 2 hours ago. It was amazing.
Obviously, my child also uses the helmet.
Yeah. So, you know how when they put your hand... All right, we're not going to get into it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Let's keep going.
God
if you have an
damn
Oculus,
it.
look into the porn. It's great.
Oh, God. Grow up.
Okay.
All right. Max hallucinates himself in Videodrome with Nikki. As he whips an organic TV set, Nikki's image transforms into Masha. Max wakes up in his own bed with Masha dead at his side. Max calls Harlan to come over with his camera, but when he arrives, he sees nothing in the bed to photograph. Max says they must watch last night's Videodrome broadcast because he was in it. At the lab, Harlan reveals that there never was a broadcast, only pre-recorded tapes, which he never watched. Just then, Convex enters. He says that they chose channel 83, Civic TV, for the first transmission of the Videodrome signal because of its sleazy content and audience. Why would anybody watch a show like Videodrome, he asks. Under Convex's influence, he produces a pulsing VHS tape, and Max's stomach slit opens to receive the program. Blech. Convex orders Ren to kill your partners and give me channel 83. Max pulls his gun back out from the slit, and the gun screws itself to his hand and up his arm, which was really a cool effect, if you ask me.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Max goes back to the Civic TV station and shoots both Moses and Raphael in the Channel 83 boardroom. His next program is to kill Bianca Oblivion. He breaks into the mission, but hesitates when Bianca plays him Nikki's death scene on Videodrome. She was killed on the show, along with all the other people, by Spectacular Optical. A flesh gun emerges from the TV set and shoots him. A violent deprogramming. Bianca inserts her own tape into Max's stomach. With that, she reprograms him to go after the ones responsible for creating Videodrome. She tells him, the video word made flesh. Death to Videodrome. Long live the new flesh. So, Des, there's a lot to unpack here. Not what we actually see, but the euphemisms that are happening here.
Yeah. So Max finds Marcia dead in this bed. Harlan can't see anything in Max's bed. I have to wonder if Max is a schizophrenic. And I ask this because the opening scene, again, he's unstable before he's ever watched Videodrome. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're getting, like, who needs their secretary to make videotapes for the morning? I mean, what is this, 51st Dates with Drew Barrymore? I mean, he's fucking obviously mentally broken. So I have to wonder if Max is having a schizophrenic episode and how much of what I am seeing is this schizophrenic episode, or is it Videodrome? I don't know, but I love this. I'm starting to wonder if Videodrome doesn't exist at all. This is a schizophrenic fantasy that this sick guy has created. We find out why Harlan isn't hallucinating. He's a plant and never watched the show. We find out Videodrome was created to thin the herd out of perverse, violent people. And I've already made it clear. I think we need something like that. And Videodrome is not the villain here. It's not the protagonist or the antagonist. Sorry. Videodrome is the good guy. Videodrome's the good guy. Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay. You fucking perverse person.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm not the one wearing the porn helmet.
There's your soundbite.
Listen, it's I'm watching man on woman, very safe, gentle, caring. And really with the with the VR porn, there is no man. I'm the man. Right?
That's what you think.
I'm the man.
And the man. Okay. Max goes on a killing spree. We find out Oblivion's daughter has been programmed by Videodrome to be an assassin. Pretty cool. So he's an assassin now. He's a Manchurian candidate. He's been brainwashed. He's going on the killing spree. When Max gets shot in this scene, we get the symbolism that Max has become what he sees on TV. And again, a message about people being driven to do crazy things by influence from news and social media. It's heavy-handed and it's really good. Have we gone back to the Spectacular Optical yet?
We have not
Okay.
yet gone
So
back.
that's what I got.
That's our next scene. All right.
Hey, just good stuff. Loving all of it.
All right. So back at Spectacular Optical, Max is looking for Convex. He finds the turncoat Harlan instead, who congratulates him on a job well done and offers up the next videotape mission. However, when he inserts the tape, his hand won't come out. When he finally does get it back, his hand is gone and it's replaced with an explosive. He blows up and Max calmly steps through the hole left in the wall to go look for Convex. At the spectacular optical trade show at the Toronto Convention Center, Convex is introducing the new spring collection. Max approaches the stage and shoots Convex with his gun hand, who falls dead and his entire body erupts into gory and sickening tumors as people scream and panic and run. Max waves his handgun to the assembly, yelling, "Death to Videodrome, long live the new flesh." Afterwards, Max takes refuge on a derelict boat in an abandoned harbor. The space is mostly empty, but a television materializes and Nikki appears on the screen. She tells him that he's weak in Videodrome, but that in order to completely defeat it, he has to leave the old flesh. The television then shows an image of Ren shooting himself in the head with his gun hand, which causes a TV set to explode, splattering the deck of the ship with bloody human intestines and multicolored goo. Imitating what he's just seen on TV, Max says his final words, "Long live the new flesh," and then he pulls the trigger. Dun,
Right.
dun, dun.
So the point of Videodrome too, they're not being like preachy, like you can't watch porn, you can't masturbate, you can't have sex with multiple people. What they're saying is you shouldn't be turned on by people murdering a helpless woman. That's sick behavior. People like that shouldn't be in society. If this is stuff that turns you on, you're fucked. You're broken. You're a fucking mental case. If you want to watch people be if you want to watch a real snuff and watch a man murder an innocent, helpless woman, you're fucked. And we can do without you. That's all I'm saying. And that's what Videodrome is saying. And that's why I'm saying Videodrome is not the bad guy here. Okay. So at this point, Max takes control of the dream, right? So he takes control of the hallucination now. He's yang all the characters in this dream, and he's now calling the shots. So I made an observation. After he blows the hole in the wall and goes through the hole into the street, you see a woman with her child. She sees this happen and she grabs the kid and she goes, "Oh, come, come, come." Okay. So now two things are happening here. Either the entire thing is a fantasy in his head, all of it. These are dream characters in his fantasy, the woman, the child, none of them exist. Or we're seeing parts of reality and also parts of his fantasy. But how did the wall explode? So clearly, none of this is happening. None of it is happening. That wall never exploded. I mean, am I right?
That's where I was going to ask. It's like, if he's schizophrenic, how did the Harlan explode? How did the wall get there? How did he get in the alley?
Yeah,
You know,
well,
those
schizophrenic,
are quote real things.
but schizophrenic
I-
people see hallucinations. They see things that aren't there.
See, but again, I would blame that on Videodrome because the only thing Cronenberg had to do is in the first scene when he's making his coffee and dipping his pizza in it, is show him go to the medicine cabinet and take a pill. That would have introduced that he possibly has mental issues. We didn't see anything of that, so we're just going to go that he's a weak-minded person, not so much that he has a condition.
What's weird is there is always a jar of pills visible when you're in Max's apartment. The same jar of pills. Every scene.
I did notice it. I'll give you credit on that. That is true. That's really subtle and a really good observation.
Yeah.
I've
So I
never
noticed
picked
it.
up on that.
Yeah, I noticed it, and it was like purposely put in shot. Like it was moving around the apartment. That's how, like he wanted you to see that bottle of pills.
All right. That's
Granted,
actually really interesting.
yeah, I mean, it looked like a bottle of vitamins. I don't know, but you know, it's there for you to debate if you'd like to. At the banquet, did you notice Barry is pushing the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati? Very cool, man. It's there. If you want to see it, it's there. The triangle, the eye, it's all
Yep.
there. And then the final act. Are we there? Can we talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I finished. Keep going.
So Max killing himself in Videodrome. This, for me, this was symbolism for Max shedding his earthly sins, shedding his body, leaving the story behind. Anything that he had done here on Earth, he was going to be forgiven for. And he just basically says, without saying it, I'm shedding my human body, I'm shedding my earthly sins, and I'm moving on with my spirit to whatever's next. And I'm, you know, I'm, I'm not sure the word I'm trying to find. Embellished.
Like he's ascending.
He's washed free of all of his sins, and he's now
Abolished. He's abolished the sins.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
and now his consciousness is going to be released back into the universe. And the last half an hour of this movie felt like a little bit of a slog because this is where Cronenberg started weaving the understory for anybody who was paying attention and wanted to find it. And this is where I was most intrigued and engaged with this movie because I really was looking for it. I wanted to see it. I wanted it. So I loved it, man. I thought it was fucking great. What'd you think? And Tony, wouldn't you agree that this feels like a much more important, much more serious uh piece of film and art when you compare it with They Live? Like They Live felt kind of silly and cheap compared to this.
You got Roddy Piper. It's going to be way more campy. I mean,
Right.
the casting alone. I mean, if you go back to They Live, the guy who walks them around the spaceship, the drunk guy, is like, I'm a rich guy too. It's like, yeah, it's total camp. This is the high art expectation.
Right.
Cronenberg's never made a schlock. He might
Right.
not have the budget to make what he wants to make, but he never gets cheap actors. He never gets. He might get cheap sets, but he never. They fit within the movie. I don't like his aesthetic personally myself, but they do the job for what he's going for. The man's writing and the man's theories and his ideas are fucking genius. I mean,
Yes.
he's the one who created body horror. He's the when you say body horror, you think Cronenberg. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing, his son is following in his footsteps. His son's 3 movies are fucking genius. If you haven't
Oh,
seen them
really?
yet, oh my
What are
god,
they?
it's beautiful.
Which
What are
movies
they?
are his?
His Possessor
Mhm.
Okay, never heard of it.
and Infinity Pool just came out.
Oh yeah,
Totally
is that the
amazing.
one with Alexander Skarsgård?
And Mia Goth, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I
Infinity
haven't watched
Pool.
it yet, but
I can't remember the first ones. I can't remember the name. I hate that I can't remember it. But it's about a company that works with movie stars who have terminal illness or just viruses, and you could buy the same virus you'll have the same herpes that like Taylor Swift has. You can
Oh,
spend thousands of dollars to have a designer illness,
oh
so
that's
my
you can be
god,
closer
crazy.
to your star. So
that's
I mean,
That's
the
crazy.
great.
theories are so like out there, but
Interesting.
they're so good. Yeah.
What's
I'll have to check
Infinity
those
Pool
out.
about quickly?
Oh Jesus. Um, it's a couple that goes on vacation, meets 2 people. They bring them completely out of their comfort zone, and they find out that there's a technology out there that lets them, we'll just say, get away with murder.
Oh, cool. Cool. I'll look for it.
That's not. There's layer on layer on layer on layer on layer of that movie. So
Cool.
yeah,
Cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't have been any more impressed with the storytelling and the plot and
the
how deep his script went.
the thing that I never picked up, I never understood why he shot the guy and he suddenly started exploding. Until I went back like years ago and like I just happened to stumble on an old Fangoria magazine. He actually shoots him with cancer bullets.
Oh shit.
I'm like, who the fuck would know that? But it was like it was Rick Baker basically. Oh yeah, we made the cancer bullets that went in the gun. He shot him with cancer. That's why all of a sudden tumors are popping out of him. It
So
was an
cool.
advanced. And the most horrific thing about that entire scene is as he's running through the lobby escaping, the fact that the microphone fell next to him as he's dying, you hear the gurgling and the screaming and the moaning.
So
Yes,
good.
When it's just like, oh my god, that's awful. That's just awful. He's dying and I can't get away from it.
yes.
The scene looked exactly like the same practical effects that we got in Mission to Mars. Total Recall. Sorry, in Total Recall when
Yeah, with the
when
teeth.
when he's running out of oxygen when he
Yeah.
falls on I was like, wow, that's almost the same effects they got in that movie. All right,
Um,
so anybody else
the
got anything on the end?
Nope,
the
I'm
fact
good.
that, like you said, James Woods came up with the ending to shoot on the boat. When they didn't know how they would end the movie when they started it. That's the funny thing. I don't know if you read that part of it.
No.
Is the fact that they were trying, because they were under the government funding, they had to finish the movie to keep getting the money. They needed to finish within a calendar year, so they were trying to get done by Christmas. So they had to rush into production. They literally started shooting the movie without an ending, so they had no
Wow.
idea where it was going to go. So by the time they like getting closer to Christmas, like, how are we ending it? How are we ending it? How are we ending it? And they didn't know. And I guess they threw the idea of him. That whole end scene was like a 2-day process of like, all right, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And James Cameron's like, well, let's just find an abandoned boat because someone on the crew happened to own an abandoned tugboat, and so let's go to Steve's house, and that's where it was.
So cool. So cool. I loved it. I loved the ending of the movie. It just, and it didn't feel like it was an add-on. It felt like he had that written day one.
Right?
So
Definitely
tip,
wasn't a lost season.
tip of the hat to him for that. All right, let's go to the recasting couch for this one.
All right.
I've got a good one. I would replace the actor that played Harlan with a young Jeff Goldblum, kind of like in Invasion of the
Ooh.
Body
I
Snatchers.
like it.
That's
I
good.
like it.
Yeah, it would work. It would work. Tony, what do you got?
See, I actually thought about this one. Usually surprise me with this. I forget we do it. I'm like, and I'm always like, I don't know. This one I thought about because around the same time, maybe 2 years later, Angel Heart came out. Mickey Rourke plays a sleazy detective in that movie. He would be a great James Woods replacement,
Dude.
but he would be more on the harder side. Like he loves the S&M. He loves the sleaze.
Dude,
He's
that's
fighting
so
for it.
good. That's so
Yeah, he
good.
would have been way sleazier.
Mickey Rourke
Yeah.
would have been. I mean, it definitely would have knocked the movie down like a half a notch in quality, just because James
Yeah.
Wood is just such a great actor. But
True.
actually, Mickey Rourke really is a great actor too,
He
in his
used to
own
be.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of weird
When he
now.
had an attitude, he was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, Rumblefish,
Angel Heart.
fucking,
I fucking
Yeah.
love Angel Heart.
yeah, so many good ones.
Dylan, what do you got?
Oh, yeah, what do you got?
So watching this movie, I'm watching Bianca Oblivion, and I'm going, she reminds me of somebody. Who does she remind me of? She reminds me of, like, through the whole thing, it was actually distracting me. Sarah Paulson. She is Sarah Paulson.
Oh, that's
That
a
little
good one.
lispy lip that she's got I'm like, she's Sarah. Like, if you made that movie today, Sarah Paulson would have to play Bianca Oblivion. So
See, I
that's
was
Yeah.
worried you're gonna say. I was worried you're gonna say Joan Cusack because that's
No,
what I
you
was
know-
thinking.
no,
That's
no,
what
no.
she looks like.
You know who else would be great in that part? The one who played Rachel for Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
God. Sean
Right.
Young.
we
Sean
can't have her
Young.
on the same set with James Woods though.
Why not?
Oh my God, that's like they had like lawsuits of beating and like divorces and stuff.
Oh, no shit.
Weren't they
That's
married?
right.
They hated
Oh.
I
each other.
think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's awesome. You know what? I feel like we need, I know Mickey wants to do Bad Boys with Sean Penn. So good.
Good
So
movie.
good. So dirty. But I want to do Rumblefish so bad, man. It's such a good movie. It's so artistic. I know Dylan is like, but have you seen it, Tony?
I maybe lasted halfway through it. I couldn't stay with it.
Oh, I've
I
watched that
didn't like
movie
it.
150
Yeah.
times. 150.
It's
Motorcycle
tough. It's
Boy,
a tough watch.
Rusty James. Oh, it's so
It gets
good. Okay.
slow.
It's not
It's
Streets
like,
of Fire bad, but you know.
No, a
few things are.
Oh yeah, a few things are. Okay. All right, let's do some final thoughts and rewatch score. I thought we did great with this movie. I thought it was really fun to talk about it. What about Season of the Witch? Halloween.
Oh, love it.
I want to
Love it.
do it.
down.
Let's do
I
it
would
for
totally be
October.
down with that.
Yeah, let's do it for October. Let's get it
Go
in
for
there.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts. I'll go first. So this movie has so many forward-thinking ideas going. It gets the future so right. There's so much amazing symbolism written under the surface of the movie presented on the screen, which I already said. For those reasons, this movie is a 3 3/4 rewatch for me. Just solely on the writing and just solely on how much lies. I mean, we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, and there is a huge iceberg under the ocean, and it was just so much fun for me to just discover. So yeah, 3 3/3.
All right. Tony, how about you?
It's one of those movies I forget how much I love until I either catch it or someone brings it up. It's not one that I'm like, oh, you know, we should pull out and watch. Let's watch Videodrome.
No,
But when you find someone, it's one of those movies that when I find someone who I think will really, really appreciate it, I really get excited to show them. So I mean, as far as rewatch, I gotta go like I'll do around the same like 3 points. I'm gonna go like 3.75.
yeah,
I enjoy it when I watch it. but I'm not. It's not a common. It's not a common pull.
Yeah, this is a watch by yourself, or if you have if you meet somebody else that knows what it's about. I was saying this about the last album we did, The Dogs D'Amour Inside the Dynamite Jet Saloon. I was like, back in '88, when I discovered it, if I met another rocker that had also discovered it and got it the way I did, it was like we were part of this little secret society of rock and rollers that got this album, And that's
Dogs
kind of what.
D'Amour. Oh my
Oh,
God.
oh God, you would have been perfect on the podcast because my two of my co-hosts hated it and the other one loved it just like me. So it was a battle, let's just say.
Nice.
And today we did King's X, and oh, I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
Not for me. So Lynn, what do you got?
So as I've said on numerous occasions throughout the podcast tonight, I was not a fan, at least of the first half hour. Like I just was like, I don't want to watch this. This sucks. I'm annoyed. After Nikki disappears and is off the board and things start getting weird, then I appreciated it. Am I ever gonna watch it again? No.
Hell no, you won't.
No, I'm never gonna watch it again. So I'm gonna give it a 2.35 because I mean
Fair.
it's still cool. There's some fun stuff in there, but it's not for me. So
Right.
with all of our scores added together, that brings us out to 3.28333. And on the listing, that puts it at number 32, which is one underneath Halloween, and right above Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Don't Look Up just keeps getting mentioned.
I love Don't Look Up.
He
Have-
loves Don't Look Up.
have
I
you seen-
dug it. I liked it a lot.
I
Yeah.
liked it. I liked it a lot.
It's just,
man.
I was just surprised how dark it got.
It was
It
very
goes from
dark.
like I'm laughing. Holy shit, the world just ended. Oh my God,
Yeah.
it was real.
But
that
Tony,
that
that
scene
is-
around the dinner table at the end of that movie is like,
Oh.
oh God, it's like heart-wrenching.
Yeah,
But Tony, don't you feel like that is exactly how people would act today if we'd heard on the news that there was a
Oh.
meteor coming? Like, I just
frighteningly so.
feel like it's
Yeah.
exactly like a perfect depiction
It is.
of
Yeah.
fucking how people would act now.
Just
That's
pat,
what I
pat,
liked
pat,
it.
move along. Oh.
Yeah, that's why I liked it so much. And fucking yeah. All right. So, Tony, thanks for joining us. Great
Hey,
talking
sure.
about movies with you again. We put out like one legitimate podcast a month. This was it.
I'm so bummed I could have been on the Fast Times one. I have so much to talk about with that. I love that one.
It
That
was
was
so
good.
good. I kind of mailed that one in. It was just
Oh, it
I've
was
seen
so much fun.
I've
I
seen
love
it
that movie.
500,000 times, and I kind of wish I had done more notes because I was just like, this
He was like,
it was so cool with a
BB King's
bagel in his hand.
boobies.
Yeah, if I could, fucking Spicoli with a fucking bagel in the front of his pants. It's so good. It's so good. All right. So we will be back next week where we will be reviewing one of my favorites and a movie that is long overdue on this podcast, Fletch. And we'll be doing that with Pat, and I will be enjoying it with a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich. So yeah, guys, listen. Share this podcast with your friends. Anybody you know that likes movies, just share it with them. Share it on your Facebook page, share it wherever. It doesn't matter. If you're listening to it on Apple, give it a 5-star review, give it a share. It helps the podcast grow, and we really appreciate it. Okay. And if you like music, you like rock and roll, you like classics, you like whatever, you just like music, go check out Breaking Vinyl. We break down an album every week. It's a lot of fun. We ruthlessly insult each other's musical taste. We fight, we quarrel. It's a lot of fun. Today was insane. It was King's X. I hated it. Ed loved it. Go check it out. So until next time, I just have one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you later.